there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to see if I can make this palette look like new, or maybe not like new, but just a lot better. So I've had this Pike palette, oh gosh, for about 25 years, and I got it secondhand. And this palette is a beast. Look how thick the plastic is, and there's no cracks or anything. It is super durable, super high quality. It's the palette that I recommend if somebody wants a large studio plastic palette. This is what I recommend because it's just so durable. You can see it's got a mishmash. I don't even know what brands of paint I have in here because there was some paint in it when I got it, and I've topped it up with various different brands over the years, just kind of keeping it in the same, you know, I put my cool yellows together, my warm yellows together, you know what I mean, that sort of thing. There's like a little couple little scratches there, but overall, it's in great shape. It's just really stained and yellowed. So if you look here, look at the outside of this lid. So what I want to see if I can do is a process called retrobrighting. And that is when you use hydrogen peroxide and the sun to basically turn yellowed plastic back to its original color. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually take this up to the sink and just give it a good scrub with dish soap, and I'll be right back. Get a load of how clean I got this, just with like a sponge and a scrubby thing and a magic eraser and just like dishwashing detergent. Look at that. So clean. So this is about what I'm going for here. I'm not sure if I want to do this inside part or not because, gosh, that looks pretty clean. That looks pretty good. I don't think I've ever had it that clean. So this is a lid. This is the inside of the lid. It's pretty white, but the outside of the lid, look how yellow that is. And if you look here where it says John Pike, because I kind of washed the letters off with my magic eraser, but that's the color I'm going for. So I'm going to set this aside for right now because I also think that if I try to retrobright the inside of this, it's not very deep until you get to the paints, and I don't want to damage my paints because there's a lot of expensive paint there. So what I'm going to do here, I've got this bin, but it's wet because I just hosed it off, and I've got peroxide. So this is going to use some peroxide. This is probably not like, it'd probably be much better to do this with like a gallon. Maybe you can buy, actually I've seen some people use like hair color, like the developer from a hair color place. So I think you want half and half peroxide and water. So yeah, I'll probably just end up dumping a bunch of this in, filling it just up to level with this with the hose. And I'm gonna set it out in the sun, and we're gonna see what happens. So I've added peroxide, I'm gonna add water. Yeah, we're gonna let it soak in the sun, and hopefully it turns back into a brand new kind of like creamy white colored plastic. It wasn't bright white, but it was kind of like a creamy white. And I'll show you another palette that I might try this with afterwards. My Jones palette, look how yellow the top of my Jones palette is. Isn't that crazy? And that's gotten brittle. And my palettes don't see a lot of sunlight. This sun does this to it. So it's funny that sun is going to be what fixes it, the sun and the peroxide. But like this lid is so yellowed. But if you look at the bottom of my palette, look how bright that is. It's nice and bright white. And the mixing area inside is nice and bright white. So since I've kept this, I always keep the lid on the palette, you know, the bottom is fine. The bottom hasn't gotten really brittle. It hasn't gotten brittle at all, actually. It's just been the top where it's had sunlight. And the inside of the top is nice and bright. This is not as good of a plastic as the Pike palette. It's much more thin and brittle, but it, you know, if you can keep it out of sunlight, it works great. So keep your palettes out of sunlight would be my advice, your plastic palettes. But you know what? I'm gonna use the rest of this thing of peroxide. I'm gonna fill it up with water so it covers the top of that. I'll probably put a clear lid on it just to trap in some of the moisture. And then we'll see it later. I don't know how long I need to leave it in the sun for, but I got a couple more hours of sun today, full sun, because it's only about 2 in the afternoon, and we'll see how it looks tomorrow. So my other palette lid is out retrobrighting right now in the sun, and I thought, oh, maybe I want to do this lid. Look at how much that has yellowed. I'm taking this sticker off right now by using my heat gun, and I can see here where the sticker wasn't printed in ink, it's just white. You can see, you can read 4 watercolors there, just like there, but it's like more sun could get through that lighter part of the sticker than the colored part of the sticker. So I think I'm going to try to retrobrite this too, because look at how much yellow, look at that difference. So I just wanted to kind of share that because the other one's going so well that I thought I might do this one too. Are you ready for the Retrobright reveal? Look at this. I am really happy with how this lid came out. This is from the Pike palette. So that's the inside. Actually, I think the inside is even a little bit brighter. And I don't know if that has to do with like whatever gases the peroxide lets off. I mean, there's still a little bit of yellowing on the edges, but nothing compared to how it was when we began. I'm really happy with that. And then I can grab the bottom of this palette. So now the bottom of the palette wasn't anywhere near as bad as the top, but if you look at the edge here, you can kind of see some of the discoloration. If you compare it to what I just retrobrighted here, it is so much brighter, and this was lighter than any of the cover. The cover was actually quite dark. I'll have to do a screen grab of before and after. I did give this a nice clean, which I feel good about that. And look at this extra mixing area, so nice and bright. So I mean, like this was super so much lighter than the lid, and now this is just as light as that, maybe even a shade or two lighter. Now the I'm just using household peroxide, and I had it quite diluted, so if the sun was stronger in Maine and I had a higher concentration of peroxide, it'd probably be even brighter, but I'm just really thrilled that this looks so much nicer than it did originally. And I didn't want to make it look perfectly brand new because this is history. I've had this for about 25 years, and who knows how long it lived before I got my hands on it. And I just love the fact that this was something that was cherished by someone, and it got well used, and then I used it, and it's still going strong. So I'm really happy with how that came out. And then the second lid here, if you remember, I did end up taking the duct tape off. Now, if you recall from the previous clip, we took the sticker off there, and it was like really bright. It was like this bright, and then this was so brown. And now, I mean, you can see where the sticker was, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. So I'm going to replace the duct tape here because you can see this is brittle. The reason I had duct tape on there before was because it had gotten cracked and brittle just from, you know, plastic does that, and it yellows because it gets exposure to sunlight, and then it's, you know, it breaks down. But when I put the duct tape on it, it's going to really preserve the life. And I have a lot of, this is my M. Graham palette. I have so much paint left in this palette, so I certainly want to make sure that I can keep that lid for as long as possible. So what I have for duct tape, I really want to use this one. I think this one will look really good. I also have, I'm not sure if I have quite enough though, so I need to see if I have enough before I stick it onto this. So I'll probably just end up peeling strips and laying them down. And then if I have enough, I'll put them on. If not, I'll just rewrap it on the roll and use it for another project. I also have this Paris one, but I don't want to bring the yellow back because I just spent so much effort getting rid of the yellow. So I thought probably this mustache one would be kind of cute if I couldn't get the Union Jack one to go, because I know I have plenty of that as well. And I also have this leopard print, but I don't know, purple leopard print, I'm not really feeling that vibe, so I think I'll go between one of these two. So I'm going to do that. I'll show you how it turns out in a minute, but I'm just so thrilled with how this came out, and I encourage you to give it a try. So this was... this one was not outside quite as long, and I didn't have another vat that I could use for the peroxide. So what I did was I had some spray peroxide, and I just sprayed it, and then I stuck it inside of a clear plastic bag, and then I poured in some of the water, peroxide water from the other vat that I was retrobrighting with, and just left it in the sun. And so that makes me think that maybe it's the gases, that peroxide gas or whatever that does that. I don't know. It was very diluted, so I don't know. A combination. This was a good 2 days in the sun, I would say. But it was one, you know, it was kind of off and on, overcast. It wasn't perfectly bright sun. But anyway, I'm really happy with this. Let me do the duct tape, and then we'll be back. Happy news! I have enough duct tape. I'm so happy. So I first cut the four sides, and then I cut a few patch pieces, which I think I'll put on first. So let's do it, I guess. I don't really know the best way. I mean, I've done it before, but I really want to reinforce the edges here, these corners, because that's where most of the brittleness happens. So I just want to make, and I want these to kind of go down first so that hopefully it'll be kind of hidden when I go and put the longer strips down. And I may need to trim the longer strips a little bit. If you're just here for the retrobrighting, you could probably go now if you're not interested in this bizarre hobo craft. And yeah, I'm just going to tuck that in, I think. Duct tape is extraordinarily malleable. It's great for projects like this. I still have some adhesive left on there from before, but I knew I was going to cover it up, so I'm not worried about that. But I do want to get these cracks reinforced. Okay. Just doing a little snip here because I don't want to get a fold over. I don't want to have like a bump in there. I was really ghetto the first time I did this. I think I just tore the tape. I didn't even bother cutting it. But, you know, after I went through all that retrobrighting work, I want this to be as good as it can be. I'm doing my best. I'm giving my all. I'm not giving my some today. No. Alright, where should I start? The short ends or the long ends? Oh, I don't know. And I think I am going to need to trim these a little bit. So, yeah, I cut them just a hair long because I was worried that, I didn't want to go too long because I was afraid that, I didn't know what I was going to do with the corners, to be honest. Okay, let me trim like there. Are we in frame? Let's hope so. Okay, I want to come right down. I want to come right down on that lip, but that's kind of hard to do. I don't want to have this part tucking under because I think, well, maybe I should have cut it after. Let's get one side on, and then I could probably do the rest off camera. And then if I come up with some really awesome ideas, I'll tell you about them. Okay. Okay, I think this is gonna work. I just want as much strength as possible on this lid. And I don't want bulk. Oh, but you know what? I had it over a little bit on that side, but it folded over fine. I'm also going to put little lifts under this. I'll show you that when we get back. Alright, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that to all the sides, and then I'll show you how I make the little pickup lifts when we're done. Alright, this is the cover. It's so punk rock, I love it. And then on the inside, I took those two little pieces that I left over and I patched a couple cracks from the inside as well, just to reinforce it. It's really not good. If I want to use this as a mixing area, it's still going to be fine. So now I want to make a couple lifts to go on these little tabs. And so I'm going to cut them at 3 inches. Did I cut this already? No, I haven't. So I'm going to make 2 3-inch strips. There. Oh, this is just like so perfect. I can't believe I had enough. That's awesome. Okay, and then and I did this before when I did the palette before. So I'm going to tape this in right here. I'm just going to line it right up with the inside crease of the palette. And then I'm going to come out and I'm just going to attach it to the edge and just line it up so that I don't have sticky, hopefully. So I don't see. Just basically try to match the front and the back. Oh, now that I've stuck it together though. Oh, that might be, you know what? That's going to stay like that. Alright, next time we'll be more careful. But there you go, a little tab there. Actually didn't even have to be that long, but I wanted to have something to make it a little bit easier to lift. I guess, you know, probably 2.5 inches would have been good. And that was the only area where I had a little bit of sticky as well. Sorry if my hair's in the shot. Can't really fix it today. I just kind of like got it wet in the shower. And then I am going to just fold it on itself. Try to keep those edges lined up. And then the leftover can attach to the edge. I could trim it down if it's too long, but There, just gonna help me lift up that lid when it's on my palette, so let's make sure she fits. Now, like I said, this isn't perfect either, but now that's nice and strong, it's brighter, it looks a little bit nicer. I took the sticker off because A, I was curious to see what the actual plastic looked like underneath, and B, I knew that soaking it in peroxide and water for a day or two was going to make it like peel up and look gross. So it's just easier to take it off. But there, it's got a really nice fit. You know, it's not going to fall off. It's, you know, until I just gently lift it off. So that works for me. This is the palette. I usually bring one of these, this one or the other Pike palette, if I'm going to take a class or something. I'll have it in my wooden paint box. I usually don't take the M-grams just because I like to set my box on the edge, and these can tend to travel if I forget and don't put the box flat afterwards. But there you have it. I'm so happy with this project. Even though it's not perfect, it's much better. And, you know, like I said, if I had a stronger percentage of peroxide and more sun, probably would be brighter, but I'm happy with this. So give it a try if you've got some old plastic things you want to make a little bit brighter, and try to keep your palettes out of direct sunlight if you want them to remain nice and bright white if they are made of plastic. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoy these under-consumption, I'm going to call them under-consumption artsy videos, because we all want to make our stuff last longer. We want to get more use out of our things, and we want to create less waste and more art. So there you go. Happy crafting.